NXT takeovers are always amazing, and so I was wondering if this card could live up to the hype. Boy, was I wrong for doubting it. NXT Takeover Vengeance Day was nothing short of fantabulous. Here are my thoughts. So the first match was between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez against Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. And it was an amazing match. It started out with Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart coming out in matching gear, and it started on a slower note than other matches. There were a lot of submissions, like Ember Moon using an octopus stretch and getting slammed down, and a lot of slow but brutal offense. Eventually, this actually led to Dakota Kai being dominated in the ring until she made a heel hot tag in a way, and Raquel Gonzalez came in and ran over Ember Moon. She threw clotheslines and sent her flying across the ring until Shotzi Blackheart came and tried to stop the offense. The match continued a little bit more until Ember Moon landed an eclipse on Raquel. And this could have been the ending of the match, but Dakota Kai distracted the referee enough, giving enough time for Raquel to kick out. The match then continued on with brutal kicks from Ember, as well as Shotzi and knee spot on Dakota for near fall. But finally, we saw a clear domination from Raquel Gonzalez near the end, where she threw Ember off the ramp, first outside the ring on the ramp, and then off the ramp. And then she ended the match with a one-handed power bomb, as well as a double pin. I think this match was amazing. It had one or two spots that weren't perfect, like the referee mishap, which involved Ember Moon arguing, and I felt like that was a little forced. But every almost every other spot in the match was amazing, and we could definitely see how much Raquel has improved. The second match was between Johnny Gargano and Kushida, and boy was I excited for this match. Johnny has a curse in NXT Takeover because of how much he competes, and B, just because championships don't like him. So I was really excited to see if Johnny would continue his reign or if Kushida would get it. And Kushida was looking hot. Not as hot as he was a few months ago when he defeated Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa, but hot nonetheless. So this could have been the perfect time for either man to win, and we had to wait and see. So before I begin, I also remembered that Johnny was actually wearing a Wolverine gear, and I remember that he lost the last time he wore it, so I was also worried about that. But yeah, on to the match. So the match was amazing, as it obviously should be, and had to be with them. And one surprising thing before the match began was that Johnny actually went solo. The way Austin Theory was actually abducted by Dexter Loomis in the beginning, and then Candice and Indy went looking for him. So it was Johnny versus Kushida and one-on-one, and I really missed that. Like Johnny having a clinic with someone one-on-one, chef's kiss. So the match began, and Kushida really started getting working on Johnny's arm. He used a Falcon Arrow and kicked the arm brutally and used drop kicks. Even used the Gargano escape on Johnny. And this all led to a series of technical encounters, if you may, as what followed by fast-paced action. I remember how instantly after they got up from the Gargano escape or a little bit of ground holds, they started trading offense with flips and dodging quick moves, and then went back to the technical side. I really enjoyed this transition back into the technical and the fast-paced action to give everyone what they wanted. And there were a lot of near falls in this, with Johnny trying to hit a lot of his signature moves like the rolling kick and the slingshot spear, and Kushida trying to hit a lot of his signature offense, both of which being countered because the other person knew each other, because they knew each other so well. And this all led to very very intense submission locks, with Johnny having the hoverboard locked in and somehow getting out of it, as well as chicken wing suplexes from Kushida, and then Johnny giving him driving him into the apron and barricade, and using his own moves, and ultimately, um, once Kushida hit the hoverboard lock or an armbar, I think. Johnny got to the ropes and broke it, and hitting Kushida's neck on the ropes. This gave Johnny an opportunity to hit the one final beat on the ramp and then another one to retain. And I have to say, this was an amazing match. Johnny Takeover, he showed up today. So the next match was MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans, and it was a wild match. Um, so in the beginning of the match, heading into it, I was actually voting for MSK, and then Zach Gibson came out with his amazing and usual promo that just won me over, and I wasn't sure who I was voting for anymore. Like, and I had a feeling like I felt that NXT wouldn't pull the trigger as quickly on MSK, so I was like also doubting their victory in that way. But you can never doubt NXT and MSK in the case, or the Rascals, if you may. So the match was a mix of high octane action paired with brutal, grounded action, and it gave us a great match with spots where MSK showed how athletic and how much they could fly, while grizzled young veterans just showed how savvy and technical they were in the ring, and in terms of IQ. One of the most memorable parts of the match was when Lee got murdered by a doomsday device suicide clothesline, and then Carter somehow kicks out of the offense inside the ring. And I thought the match was over. Carter was going to get pinned inside the ring, but I was wrong. Lee somehow came back into the match, hit a ticket to mayhem, and they somehow got in a double super kick as well as a springboard blockbuster or a heart attack to end the match. It was a really good change of pace in NXT and it just showed how the NXT tag team division is back. Next, we had Io Shirai versus Mercedes Martinez versus Toni Storm for the NXT Women's Championship. In this match, um, it started out with a bang with Martinez attacking Io and sending her outside. She then went after Tony, and the match cycled with two people in the ring at one time, with the other one being out of action. And all of this led to a lot of brawling between Tony and Mercedes, with Io outside. Um, yeah, all of this led to a few good spots, as well as a very memorable botch in a sense, where Tony was clearing out the table to hit, I think, Martinez or Io, I'm not sure. But the table broke as she was moving the water bottles. And all of this led to Io jumping off one of the pillars onto Martinez and Storm, proving why she is the genius of the sky. And ultimately, the match ended as I feel it should have, with Io's victory, with when Tony hit the Tyler Driver 97, or Storm Zero as she calls it, on Mercedes Martinez. But she kicks out and then a diving headbutt. And as she pins, Io hits her signature moonsault and pins Martinez to win the match. The match was pretty good, but it could have been better. I feel like Tony Storm hasn't had a moment in NXT as she had in NXT UK, and just the triple threat didn't allow the chemistry to be highlighted between the wrestlers. I feel like it was a good match, but not as it could have been. And finally, we have the main event: Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne for the NXT Championship. And before I begin talking about this match, I just want to say how impressive it is that Finn Balor has not stepped outside the ring in his last two takeover matches. It just goes to show how he's had amazing matches without using bump, the bump into the barricade, or the bumping into steel steps, or the getting into the ring at 9, or any of those shenanigans. Not that they ruin a match, but that Finn Balor is truly doing something special with his reign as NXT champion. And this match began wild. It started on the mat with Pete Dunne going after his finger with joint manipulation and using a triangle sword and a triangle choke and other submissions, while Finn Balor trying to match him move for move. And it was it was very different from what we've seen. It reminded me of the match between Timothy Thatcher and Finn Balor, but I did not have a problem with it. It just showed how technically savvy they were and how they were so adaptable in the ring. And though I can't point out many amazing spots of the match, um like one of the most memorable parts of the show was when Finn Balor takes out his uh his uh Pete Dunne's mouth guard and hits him a shotgun dropkick and just chills. And then at near the end, they also trade signature moves with the bitter end being countered into a 1916 and Pete's clinging onto his fingers with a glimmer of hope. And just the match was captured a zeitgeist of a different type of wrestling, a wrestling that is completely welcomed in NXT. And the match ended with a coup de grace as well as a 1916 because Finn could not cover from the coup de grace. And I think it was a special match, a different match, and a match we needed. But I have to talk about the ending. So after the match ended, Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch came out. They beat Finn Balor down, and the Undisputed Era music hit. Now, Kyle O'Reilly came out and helped Finn, and Adam and Roddy obviously followed. Kyle checks on Finn. They have a stare down. Kyle helps him up, and they shake. And Adam looks, and Roddy looks very like weird for some reason. Roddy looks like he's staring off into the distance, and I'm just like, well, is something gonna happen? And sadly, it's an end of an era because Adam Cole super kicked Finn Balor and then super kicked Kyle O'Reilly. And wow. Just wow. We're going to have a 5-star match in the future, and boy, am I excited. And just Roddy's reaction. Roddy's reaction was just it just made the moment. So overall, I think NXT Takeover Vengeance Day was amazing with either Johnny Gargano's match with Kushida or Finn Balor's match with Pete Dunne stealing the show, and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, and as well as um Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart's match just being right there. Like the matches today were on point, and other than the women's triple threat, which was not bad for any case, it was still good. It just that was the only thing that wasn't perfect about the show. Otherwise, this show was amazing, and I'll give it an A plus. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and please leave a like, subscribe, and share the video. Peace.